All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll do roll call.
Thompson.
Here.
Norman.
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
Grant. Yes. Ed.
Here. All right. Norman to be sworn in as mayor.
Norman to be sworn in.
So, all officers of the city, whether elected or appointed, shall, before entering upon the duties of their respective offices, declare and subscribe the following oath or affirmation. I, Shane Norman, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Nebraska against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely and without mental reservation or for the purpose of evasion, and that I will faithfully and impartially perform the duties of the office of mayor according to law and to the best of my ability. And I do further swear that I do not advocate nor am I a member of any political party or organization that advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States or of this state by force or violence. And that during such time as I am in this position, I will not advocate nor become a member of any political party or organization that advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States or of this state by force or violence. So help me God. This oath or affirmation so subscribed shall be filed in the office of the city clerk.
Welcome aboard.
So a copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted on the wall, right over there, sorry, and it's available in pamphlet form. So I need an approval for the minutes of the July 9th regular council meeting and July 17th budget workshop.
Make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
All right.
Dean.
Yes.
Grant. Yes. Thompson.
Yes.
All right. Reports. Discuss, approve, disapprove, general operations report. Mr. Bryan.
Ready?
Yep.
Okay. So I'll hit streets first. Last Friday we had a heavy rainfall that created commonly seen mess around our streets. We're encountered with over 5 feet of stormwater under the underpass on Main Street, and the road needed to be closed for the night. We had crews out first thing Saturday morning cleaning up Main Street to safely get it back open. The Parks and Street team worked on cleaning up the streets around town Monday and Tuesday. Our street sweeper, with Tim as the driver, removed over 10 tons of debris from the street until our brushes failed. So that's why the south end of town didn't get done, by the way. We've already ordered new brushes, have them here, and as soon as that gets repaired, we'll finish the cleanup on the south end of town. We've already used our 40-ton stockpile repairing potholes and washouts from the damage from the storm, so I've ordered more material. That will continue on alleys and dirt roads once we receive the order. With the treasurer report anticipated in the next meeting, we'll be requesting approval for storm drain repairs on Elm Street and Annan. And with the upcoming budgets, I anticipate working in street repairs and much other needed concrete work around town. Parks. The park team has been doing a wonderful job in all areas that they cover. We'll be making time for some much needed building and bridge maintenance down in the park, replacing some bridge boards and repairing the gutters, which have already been cleaned out but need some much needed repair. After the 4th of July event, the team has been able to get caught up in the cemetery and it looks great. We had one of our primary mowers go down, broke a frame on the drive motor. And now Phil is taking charge of that repair. There's anticipation we might need a new mower sooner than later, depending on what we find out with that. The baseball fields have been a struggle keeping irrigated. The irrigation system has not been fully functional in several years. We've now located 3 or 4 of the valves. 6 more need to be located, and those are our problem valves that are sticking open. We hope to keep spending time on the fields when we have it, when we have extra time to get resolution to the watering problem. Peabody Hale Park looks great with the tree removals that was completed and by our much appreciated volunteers. The same group of volunteers has asked if they can install irrigation and reseed the area where they removed the trees. I'm hopeful that the park board will work with this team of volunteers and find a path to assist them to get that done. Water plant, we've been notified that the primary pumps that we sent in for service are non-repairable. We're looking for replacement pump shafts so we can utilize our current motor and save some cost. If we can't find a mate for that motor, we're gonna have to order a whole new set like we did the first time. And I'm pushing them at this point because there's such big lead time on those motors. We have received the new area actuators for our flush gates up there. We'll be installing them this week and completed our monthly drawdowns test. This is something that hasn't been scheduled and done regular, and it's now on a regular schedule, so we can report to the state. As we progress through the repairs in the plant, we're finding other problems. Once we fix one thing, something down the line fails, or we found that it was already failed, but we didn't know the problem was there because no flow or anything happening there. So we're finding more problems as we go, and we're finding solutions. We've had to order some more butterfly valves, and turbidity meters are now our big thing. We're trying to get a company in to identify new turbidity meters because the age of ours they don't make them anymore. So we're working on that. Wastewater plant, Dennis has got quotes back on the much needed lift pump with the council's approval. That should get ordered this week. Dennis has also been able to get flow control valves replaced on the lift station, and took a little while to get them calibrated, but that should quit the alarms going off at night. When they read a bad flow, that's when those alarm goes off. I'm sure people have heard them all around town. I'd like to thank and recognize the team of people making this all happen. And if you see them around town, take a minute to thank them. Kevin Hall, Augie Taylor, and Ian Anderson in the parks, Tim Schultz on streets, Dennis Croats, and Edward Blacksheep in the water department. They're just following the leader, and they're getting stuff done. So quit thanking me, thank them. That's it.
Rolf.
Okay, we have a board meeting on the 17th. The next meeting is the 21st of August. Amanda stated she's having irrigation problems with the sprinkler heads clogging up, so they're trying to come up with a solution to that with Dan, I believe. One of the tractors there needs a new wiring harness, probably get a little deeper, and it's gonna need more stuff too. I think they were calling 21st Century and getting some prices on that. We're in need of a new board member. Terry Steinocker had passed away, and so we have five or six names in the hat that they have been members for 2 years or longer. That's what I was told that the bylaws are, and that they need to write a sentence stating that they would take the position. We had some rock for the front of the building donated by Dave Keener. We talked about a global tournament, date to be determined. That was possibly going to be sponsored by the Studemeyers, but that might be on hold because they just got back from Africa. So the board, we talked about Roger Campbell, the chamber president, doing a end of year banquet at the golf course. The board tabled that for now until we know more about you know, what the golf course will be doing with parties after the season is closed, that we haven't really taken that any further. We had our health inspection, passed with flying colors. We have had, since the opening date, we've had 1,025 members through the door, almost 1,000 guests, 918. We've sold 1,554 rounds of 9-hole golf and 350 or 89 rounds of 18-hole golf. We are getting a lot busier, so we discussed at the board that members and guests make tee times on the weekends because it's getting almost impossible to just walk in and get on the course. So that's going over well. Getting the members to check in before they do go out golfing, because with being busier, you know, we have encountered a few issues with, you know, too many people out there at once, but we're handling that. We've got a rules set in place that we're passing out, and cart procedures and all sorts of stuff in place to help maintain things running smoother. We've got our mouse and bull problem in the works of being under control. They put really poisonous stuff down in the cart sheds and stuff because it became a problem that they were getting into carts as well and moving in. We brought on one of the gals from the pool, Carly Lemon. She's working out wonderful. We were just kind of working her part-time. We're filling her in on some weekends because we lost another girl, so she's kind of picking up the slack, and she's wonderful. We really appreciate having her. They actually voted to do the Shriners Transportation fundraiser, which also goes to our public schools lunches, so we donated 2 18 rounds and a cart for that, and they'll have a silent auction and donate the money back into town. The men's league raised $630 for Terry Steinocker's picture to be put on the memorial board, and that money goes to the scholarship fund that they give out at the end of the year for the kids. We received 25 coolers from the bank, our local bank, and those are going over great. We are taking a credit card for them, so we be sure to get them back. If they don't bring them back, we charge them for the cooler.
Are those like the little bag ones that, just more of the little bag ones? That we
No, it's a nice cooler, and they've got zippers, and they have the logo, and they say property of Legend Buttes Golf Course on the top, but they say Security First Bank donated them on the side. They're way cool.
They look very nice.
And we've got the bank and fireman tournament, the 27th. I think we're almost full with that. What else do I got here? And then we also, the board approved for Gina Lemon to be the assistant manager. And that's pretty much all that we discussed at our board meeting. Everything's running great out there. Like I said, we're super, super busy. Our sales are up. I think we'll probably start seeing that with the numbers coming in, so.
Is that the new to us tractor?
I think it's their old tractor.
It is
From
an
what I
older
understand,
tractor.
there's a newer John Deere and an older one. It's the older one which they use for like picking up golf balls and everything. But they also said if the other one was to go down, that's their backup, so.
So I don't think it ever got fixed, and I talked to Dalton about this when he was superintendent. I believe we were talking about the same tractor. That tractor needs split and a new clutch and a bunch of stuff put in it.
I have no clue on that. All I know
So-
is about the electrical, which we brought up.
Yeah, that's,
Do you know anything about
I
it?
don't about that tractor, but as we progress through the meeting, I'll comment.
Okay.
So, alright.
I'm just, I don't wanna spend money on a wiring harness and have it in the shop and then not have it split and put a new clutch or whatever it needs, you know, so.
We have a potential of getting a good analysis on it at a good price,
Okay.
and we'll discuss that.
Alright, Park.
We didn't have a meeting this last week or anything, but we have discussed promotions. Hopefully you guys will see some of that tonight and everything. Some people are very worthy of some promotions. I talked with Roy Norgard and Tony Storbeck about the irrigation down in the Peabody Hill Park, and hopefully by next meeting, we'll have something to present to you with layout, price, what everything's gonna be. So look forward to that. As far as volunteer work, I want to give a very good shout out to Tony and Roy, and there's other volunteers that have been involved. They have done an absolute ton of work in the park and in Peabody Hill, trimming and cleaning up. I mean, it looks fantastic. So those guys deserve it. Please thank them, buy them, you know, around, if you see them out in town, buy them a meal, everything. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot new.
Alright.
One last thing, I do want to thank the golf course. The golf course did give me a tour last week, and I will say that I was pleasantly surprised, and I do want to thank them.
Swan.
Yeah, I attended this one, monthly board meeting, and, all the municipalities and counties in the four-county area that are members of the Swan board were present. The big points was they passed resolution for the assessment charge removal of fully satisfied delinquent accounts. Basically what that does is when they have to move things over and carry long-term depreciation for basically the landfill, the hole in the ground, the next 100 years, they're going forward with it. After all the municipalities and the counties being served passed resolutions to grant them their status needed to be able to issue bonds, they're now being prepared to sell and issue bonds for future trucks, equipment, cost of operations, and so forth. And that will keep the costs down on municipalities on their monthly and quarterly rates for tonnage. The baler, they had an update. Big problem still with items in the dumpsters and in the transfer stations that are affecting what the baler can handle and damage to the baler until the new baler is built. They're asking that, you know, people be cognizant of what they're putting in the dumpsters, what should go in and not. And they want to talk about the right-of-ways in the cities, cutting back the limbs for the trees that are in the alleyways. As the trucks go through, what's happening is those tree limbs and such are breaking windshields and busting off mirrors, and that's cutting into the overhead cost of repairs of the trucks and keeping them on the road. And eventually it's gonna they're gonna stop going down those areas until the limbs and everything are cleared out, or they're going to add that additional cost in fees.
And what they did in Gordon is they went over and just cut the alleys themselves.
Yeah.
Let Job Corps come in and help out, and they're not gonna care what it looks like when it's done. So it's just a warning. If you got vegetation encroaching into your alley, they're just gonna go through and they're gonna cut it straight up at the property line. And if you want it to look better, then it's probably a pretty good idea if you go ahead and take the initiative and get that done yourself.
The last thing is also the green dumpsters. They're being replaced as we go along. There'll be a total of 124 units to be replaced in the city of Crawford. They are labeled, and when you or your neighbor or somebody goes and puts large tree cuttings and yard debris in it, they will put that dumpster out of service until it gets cleaned out. It's just supposed to be leaves, grass cuttings, small shrub debris. If you can pass the word to your neighbors, we'll also see if we can't get something on social media and in the paper.
Question. question on that.
I'd like to
Yeah,
add.
is there any way they can do like a pickup, like a curbside pickup for leaves or for like the bigger limbs and everything? 'Cause there's a lot of people in town, a lot of elderly people that don't have vehicles, don't have trucks, have no way to pick that stuff up and move it.
I did talk with Jake
Yeah.
about that, and maybe we had a conversation with him about that they would supply dumpsters at no cost if we were to set up a,
Like a communal dump.
yeah.
Yeah, if
Like
you
if we
have-
had a
if-
storm come through and they just gave us an extra dumpster, and
Right.
everybody wanted to just get it to that dumpster, but that doesn't mean that it might necessarily might be close to, you know, an incapable individual that might need to get it there either. I know with this last storm, there were quite a few dumpsters that were marked, including mine behind me. I couldn't tell you which one of my neighbors did it, but I wasn't too thrilled about it. It was large, it was limbs. But I know there was a couple individuals that went through and did all of the dumpsters themselves in town as volunteers, so we thank them. That does make me concerned that the people that did it don't realize that that's not gonna happen again. But I'm sure if somebody needs assistance and whatnot, if they wanna reach out to City Hall, I know we are normally aware of volunteers, so if we need a volunteer to go help them, if they wanna just go ahead and generate that call down to City Hall, we can see, you know, potentially who we could reach out to as a volunteer to help them out. And I think we'd much rather prefer that than them to do whatever and just to dump them wherever too. So if you know of somebody that needs help or whatnot, please reach out. We'll see if we can maybe put you in contact with somebody that could be a volunteer in that area.
We do have a large collection and pile of limbs and trees and so forth, cuttings that are at the transfer site. And normally those get picked up and hauled off in large tips or ground down for community mulching site. Swan right now and the communities are waiting until a little bit more wetter season to go ahead and do a large burn and clear that out. We haven't got that far.
And as far as the, making sure you're not putting, things in the dumpster that could be a missile hazard or explode or anything like that. I don't remember, did I cover this, what happened?
Yeah, they actually had a cylinder explode in the compact.
Oxygen tank from
Yeah.
a local fire department.
Yeah,
And when it went off, it shot through the roof. It hit the control station of the baler. I believe the guy that was running the baler is
Yeah.
still out.
he's out, he was injured in the process.
And it shot through the roof, and they called this particular fire chief, and he had no idea how many were in there. Oh, it couldn't be more than 2 or 3. But they didn't even take the valve out. They were still compressed air, 3,000 PSI of oxygen. And they counted 7 that they dug out of the conveyor system.
Yeah.
Now what this baler does is it compacts, right? And then holds it and they wrap it, because our contract with the state is to do compacted trash only. They don't loose fill the landfill, right? So they're shoving all this trash in there, and it broke the valve off and it shot out and just about killed somebody. So please be mindful of what goes in the dumpster, and if you go throw something in and you see something in there that shouldn't be, if you can, take it out. If you're not capable of handling it, please call City Hall. I mean, I don't want anybody to get killed for just doing their job, you know, so. Anyway, thanks for attending, Bobby, I
My
appreciate
pleasure.
it.
No problem.
Alright, the library.
I just have a couple of quick highlights to kind of supplement the report I gave earlier this month. The summer reading program is quickly coming to a close. We only have a handful of events left. Of those includes tomorrow's story time at 12:30 with Ann Stevens. And then on Friday evening, we have movie night featuring a film called Arthur the King. It's meant for teens, but everybody's welcome. So there's going to be free popcorn and snacks. You may as well enjoy a film rather than have to go out of town to the theater. Then next Wednesday, we have another story time with the Post Playhouse's actress who plays Glinda and their PR person, Riley, who's awesome. And then, let's see, Riley, I think, is the actress who played Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. We have a Chamber of Commerce meeting on the 1st of August at 5:45. Reading group convenes again after its summer break in August, which will be August 2nd at 10 a.m. here. So if you've been reading and want to talk about the things you've read over the summer, that's the place to do it. And then our summer reading program concludes on the 9th of August, which is a Friday. The party will start at 4 p.m. and will go until 6, and there will be program stats listed of all the reading that was accomplished. We'll do a reading of the Choose Your Own Adventure story that the kids selected throughout the summer. It should be a pretty fun time, so. And then lastly, the Library Board of Trustees meeting will be August 12th at 4:30 here in the library. And fall programming is presently in development, so more on that later. One final note is that even though we've been very busy at the library with a lot of background admin projects, we have finally gotten to process and add 35 new titles to the library's catalog. And they are featured on this Check Out What's New shelf here by the door, so feel free to peruse those. But there's a lot more new additions to come. It's just a lengthy process to process them. So thank you for your patience, and let me know if you guys have any questions. Thanks.
Hospital. Yes, the hospital board met yesterday, last night, and highlights are they're proceeding to move forward with the acquisition and installation of the EV charging station in the upper back parking lot in conjunction with MPPD. They are also in the process of continuing to interview candidates for the C-suites and executive levels, vice presidential level positions. They will be waiting until after August to begin interviewing and selecting for a regular CEO. Right now they have Sean, their interim CEO. And then they're proceeding with purchase of surgical equipment to increase capabilities of surgical services. One device is called the Steris system for anesthesia. The other one is the surgical striker stretcher, moving the patient in and out from pre-op, operation, post-op, and then they're going to be buying 3 patient monitors for surgical services. These are all equipment that will need to be updated for the standard of care that they wanted to be able to provide to the region. And they're going to go ahead and proceed with that. The Board of Trustees for Chapman Community Hospital, they have 4 members of the boards that their terms are coming to an end. And they're going to be looking for other volunteers within the servicing area, those that may be interested, community members, to join the board of trustees for the hospital. So if you're interested, or you know somebody with a background who's interested, you can pass the word, you can contact the interim CEO or the administrative leader at the hospital. And that's it for now.
And NBC?
We meet every other month. We did not have a meeting in May due to no quorum. On this meeting, we accepted the resignation of Cody Benton. He had to step away from the board because he was moving away, and so we also lost him as our secretary position. We did appoint Rob Bila to that position. And then we're discussing on whether or not to add him as secretary or not. I don't believe we ended up going that direction with the secretary. I think we nominated somebody else for that. We did approve last quarter financials and end of the year statements provided by our auditor. We approved the contract with the Golden Shovel Agency for strategic marketing is what that comes down to. They're going to help us with overall content creation, tourism, and a lot of different cross-marketing aspects. We're hoping to increase loans that we do, and so that's a lot of what we have been in the process of doing in the last 6 months is updating and renewing our loan process, making it more streamlined, easier to accomplish, in hopes to getting more local businesses to participate in our loan process. There was two ribbon cuttings that our director participated in Shattern this last week. Our new loan application is live online, and we've actually received new applications already using our new application system online. She had a special meeting with in an annual conference in Norfolk for the Nebraska Economic Developers Association. She said she had great activities in the area, and some new ideas for their creative districts that maybe Shattern could build on, is what she referred to in that. She has the Heartland Expressway Association coming up. They hold their annual meeting in Shattern on August 22nd. She's a part of that board. Our director's a part of that board. So we do get information on pertaining to the Heartland Express Association and how that highway and that project is coming along. Let's see here. We did talk about other, I guess, empty, a lot of this pertains to the Shattern area, but empty buildings that in the area, and drawing up ideas of what could be proposed for use and renewal on some of these buildings, if we have any knowledge of new businesses that might be interested in obtaining those buildings, and what they could be recycled at or redone and used for. And other than that, that was our entire meeting. So.
Alrighty. Thank you, everyone, for your reports. We're gonna go with old business. So discuss, approve, disapprove JEO scope of services for design and permitting for relocating the existing water supply overflow or infiltration gallery. So I need a motion.
I will make a motion to discuss, approve, disapprove JEO scope of services for design and permitting for relocating an existing water supply overflow or infiltration gallery.
Is that a motion to approve? Is that a motion to approve?
Edit.
Did you say yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Need a second?
I'll second.
Alright.
With,
now we can discuss.
Okay. I would like to see it, see Dan head up the city's portion of it, offering whatever services the city can provide for this project. And as long as our local contractors are at least given the opportunity to bid on the work, then I think we should go ahead with this.
So,
Have we overcome any permitting restrictions?
This all falls on all permitting falls on the engineer.
so yeah, I mean, from what I understand, once it gets to engineer, they kind of do their thing and they.
Yep, they assume full responsibility. And all I would ask is input from everybody, anybody that's willing to give it on local contractors that feel we could supply to the engineer to get some bids from. That's just unfamiliar ground with me, and I'm getting to know more people, but.
Sure. Well, and what they've provided for the scope of services with this project looks like it's thorough, which I think is really important since this is our main water source. So
beginning
this
to
is
end
really
with our
good.
input, yep.
I believe this is not a Band-Aid, this is a permanent fix.
Mhm.
Yes,
And
yes.
it's gonna be expensive, and we should also tie up all COVID funds for this project until the project's complete. Is that a good suggestion from you? $152,000?
We've gotta secure the funds for it. It's
Sure.
potentially could be a big cost. I don't anticipate it hopefully reaching outside of that, but
Right.
we'll see. I'm gonna line them up, we're gonna meet on site, we'll have more information at that point.
Okay.
This falls under the original scope of the COVID funds being water and sewer infrastructure.
And it is, and it's one of our last outstanding violations with the water distribution
Right.
system, so.
So it's good news.
Yeah.
Just so everyone knows, I don't know if they've had a chance to look, total cost is not to exceed $19,750 for just JEO's part on this.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah,
That's
I
right.
just was letting everyone know.
But they will manage the entire project.
Yeah,
They will be
that'll-
on site.
That'll include the full site survey, bidding and negotiations through the bidding process, construction administration and oversight. They'll have a resident engineer on site inspecting everything that's done and right through completion.
I mean, realistically, it says owner responsibilities are to provide timely review of documents or requests for information and to provide access to property to conduct proposed services.
Yep.
That's really all it says that we're to,
In
on
our
our
first,
part,
yep.
so. Alright, any other discussion, questions? Alright, we need to do a vote. The roll call.
Tomasino,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Grant.
Yes.
Alright, passes. Number 8, discuss, approve, disapprove community building flooring. So, I need a motion to approve community building flooring.
I'll make a motion to approve community building flooring.
I need a second.
I'll second.
Alright, let's discuss it, because there's multiple options.
I know the
Scott?
park board got together and we took a vote and we thought option number 3, which is epoxy flooring throughout the entire facility, is the smartest way to go. It's the middle price range, it's not the low, it's not the high, it's in the middle. But it's the best for moisture protection in case we ever have another water leak. It's something that's gonna be easy to clean up and it won't damage the floor.
Okay,
So, the problem with the flooring in this building is, there's water that flows underneath the building. So we have hydraulic pressure pushing up and that's what pops these tiles. So putting tile back down is not a viable option, but sealing the cracks and then putting epoxy over it, it's gonna pop, the water is gonna pop through because we're not addressing what really needs to happen is some sort of diversion. We need to locate where the water is flowing under the building and divert it away.
You know what's happening?
So Drew has been over there multiple times and done flooring work in that building, replaced tiles. And I talked to him, Drew Shanley, and I talked to him specifically about it, and this is what he's telling me, and he's been doing flooring a long, long time. And that's what he saw when he popped the old ones out and put the new tiles back in. It's coming up through the cracks. So I don't know if some sort of French drain system around the perimeter of the building would stop that from happening or not, but again, it needs done, but without addressing the other part of the problem, then it's a Band-Aid.
Did he have any idea how long it's been
He
a
said
problem
it's-
for the fluorescence?
He said since the building was put up.
Okay, and the reason why I ask is because I know after that last hailstorm.
So I've been
that roof
fully
wasn't taken
involved
care
with
of
this for 2 months
appropriately,
now,
so-
and this is the first I totally heard about that issue, Chris. You said there needed to be a drain put around the building, but never stated anything about the floor. We spec'd a vapor barrier because I thought we had some moisture issues coming up, but never knew the extent like you're still stating, and I don't know if the park board even knew that. So
So this is.
I'm kinda pissed off.
So I just found out about this not when I told you about the drain around it.
Cause we should have never even wasted our time and money even looking at the floor if the root of the problem was water introduced through the ground.
Right, and I didn't
Clueless.
find out about this issue until I saw him just shortly, a couple of days before I told you about it needing
Right,
a
but that's
drain.
all you said at that point is we gotta put a French drain around it, not why or anything. I was like, okay, they've got some either roof drain problems or something. I didn't know, so
alright.
darn it.
I have a
So,
question.
yes.
Was your rationale for selecting option 2 as the best course is an avoidance of
Not
the?
option 2, option 3.
Option 3, oh, excuse me, it's option 3?
Yes.
Yeah,
Its estimated cost is $70,660.
Yes.
it's a sole source. We need other bids.
So this.
It's not
It's
emergent.
been addressed at the last meeting.
It's not emergent.
Right, but this has gone out to multiple other people.
And
and
we
this
put
was
it out
put
as a
out-
public bid, we
this was
sent it
put out
directly
publicly.
to 4 or 5 vendors.
They only got one person to reply back
Yeah.
with the bid.
Mr. Evans, where we
Which
at
is,
that?
we've advertised it, and this is all we've gotten, we've satisfied our requirement.
Okay, that's fine.
What are your 3 options and what are the prices?
So the 3 options, the first one is to replace the BCT, and what's that stand for?
I have a list of the 5 companies we sent
It's
it
time
out
to
to.
move.
Yeah, it's a vinyl tile with new, LVT, which is another vinyl tile, or laminate vinyl tile. Or whatever, yeah, luxury, sorry. So that one would be $57,100. That's with installing and everything else. Option 2 is to replace the BCT with new LVT in the storage rooms, restrooms, kitchen, and lobby. And then in the main area to replace with a solid colored Duraflex resinous floor system over the main area of the building. So that's a composite from what I understand. And then
And that's
there,
how much?
that is 75,410. However, there's an alternate that goes with that too, where you can add decorative flake to the flooring. That's an additional $18,840.
So for clarification, the difference between 1 and 2 is fairly similar, but in option 2, we're covering more area, and in option 1, we're not covering the same area? Am I understanding that correctly?
From what I understand, option 1, we're covering the same areas, but it's all gonna be LVT.
Oh, it's all the same material,
One,
okay, that's the
1,
difference.
2, and
It's
3
broken out.
cover
One has a
all the
different
same
area.
areas, just
Okay.
different treatments
Okay.
in the areas, or
I-
one complete treatment.
Initially, when you read that, I read that as just additional areas and, okay,
Yeah.
that makes more sense.
And
Thank
then
you.
option 3 is to replace the BCT with new solid color 2-coat epoxy urethane floor system.
And then they do have vapor barriers.
And
in
that
there.
one is $70,660.
You have a question from the public?
Yes, they have.
Back when I was born in 1909, White River used to run right through there. And then they diverted it to where it is now. And so I think you're gonna always have a water problem there. And I'm sure there's not an underground river, but if there's any overflow from White River,
There's always gonna be some
there's a
reason the
natural
aquifer
channel
somewhere.
there for
Yeah.
that water to come right through there.
You are old.
I am.
I have a question.
See, I didn't know
Have
that either, that's
Yes.
news to me.
you, have you guys considered doing, just pulling the flooring up and leaving it concrete and,
That's what that
and
last option
staining
is.
That
it?
last option is that.
So it, no matter, you can't leave it the concrete without sealing it of some sort?
It would have a seal with this.
Right, and
Epoxy,
this-
it's gonna have to
that's what
finish.
that last option is,
Yeah.
it's just, it's like a colored seal is all it is for that last option. So it's just refining taking it down to concrete, refinishing the concrete to make sure that it's even, patched, whatever, and then just refinishing that concrete.
Gotcha.
So that last option would be very similar to what you're suggesting.
We had that in our basement, and it was more and easy to maintain and way, I think it was way cheaper than that.
Yes,
Probably a little
Roy?
bit smaller.
If you know, if the public goes into any of those, Home Depot or anything else, they've taken up all their tile and done exactly that,
And Walmart.
everything.
Mhm.
And where you were talking a couple weeks ago about pickleball court and stuff like that, high usage stuff, that seems like the only logical way to go.
Sure.
So,
Dan, if we went with the option 3 here, and they didn't seal cracks, they just, or,
They'll remove all the vinyl, they'll buff it down mechanically, they'll put their first treatment on after cracks are sealed, which would be the water vapor barrier, and then the layers of the epoxy.
okay,
And if I recall right, that some of the epoxy on option 3 we talked about had a little bit of flexibility with it too. It can handle more movement than,
Not so brittle.
yes,
And I think the more modern stuff is getting that way.
Yeah.
It's a lot more.
yep.
Wow.
There was actually a newer product and we had to have them educate us a little bit on it.
I was gonna say, because we've got that out at the golf course,
That's
I
the
don't
same
know
thing.
how long it's been there, but it's chipping up and peeling and,
That's just paint
So-
though. They just painted it though. And then they put a color, like a seal over it,
Okay.
like it's just a clear seal. That's not epoxy, it was just a blue paint. that they
gotcha.
So I'd also like to
used 4
throw,
years ago. Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry, did I interrupt? I'd also like to throw out the kind of the financial state of it right now. We have the insurance check for $47,000. We have a potential after the project is completed for being reversed, another 77. Yeah, which brings us to about $54,000 in funds for this project. Anything beyond that would have to be funded by the city.
Right.
So just in consideration.
With your, I'm not familiar with the potential problem of this new water thing by learning this tonight with you.
So
Do you feel like we need to do any more investigation into that, or do you feel
I don't
like?
know this is the first I've really heard of it. Chris
Right,
had
right, right.
mentioned we gotta consider drains around the building, but I didn't know the reasoning behind that. It was
Right.
just in conversation.
Okay.
So, not knowing the extent of it and the damage that's happened in the past, how much actual rising of the water or pressure that we get from that groundwater under there, or how much movement we get, I can't comment on that.
Right. Would you have a recommended way of proceeding forward to find out how we could find that out, is maybe the best way to say that?
Well, with new information from Dale.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say if that was part of the original, it's
I
like
don't
not
even
ever
think
going.
a French drain would handle that. I mean, I think you're looking at drilling down and sinking sump pumps in there that are gonna run
That would be the only.
possibly
you'd have to-
24/7.
You'd have to drill down and find where the water's coming from, or where it's getting to the building from. And then if it's gonna have a French drain or something like that, that could definitely help it, put a water seal or plastic or whatever down, on your French drain and try to catch that water before it gets to the building.
So.
Would it make sense to approve this as our flooring option after investigation?
Well, the only time I've been involved with a situation like this, it was a year-long process to get analysis because water levels changed. We had to do hydraulic testing, soil temp testing, and all that to reflect the final results.
We could start with a testing lab and remove some of the BCT in different areas to, just get a reading there because it's easy to manage, it's affordable. And, start there, zone it out a little bit. And then, if there were some areas that weren't compromised by water and others that were, decide to go from there, take it to the next level beyond that.
Have we, and this is, I don't mean to be, and it's not necessarily technically off topic, but this whole flood thing happened because the pipe that, it came so close to that outside wall. Have
Right.
we, it was, we spoke about that pipe being moved a lot more than a few inches away from that wall. Is that something we can still consider or move, or is there anything that has changed about that or the intentions of that?
This time it's just.
I have no comment.
It hasn't been. it's just
It hasn't been moved, it's just been capped.
Yeah,
Cause that
and this-
seems to be a reoccurring, I mean, it's been
So that was the
many
root
years.
of the cause.
It's been many years.
Yeah,
It's a
indication.
reoccurring problem. It just gets too cold. It's along that north wall. There's not enough insulation. Doesn't matter if the cabinet's open or not. It continually happens, but there's not a lot of sense that it makes for it to exist there. So I just didn't know if we could cap it farther back into the building or not.
So I don't wanna,
After it flooded this last winter, you called me, I called Dennis. He went and shut it off or whatever, and I talked to him the next day, and he said that the cap that was put on the solder had failed, and so they put a shark bite on.
so,
But shortly after that, it did again, just underneath it, didn't it? Didn't it fail again, just
okay,
underneath it?
these are all new things to me.
So
So with this, can I recommend we table it to our next meeting, and I'd like to get together with a park board member, maybe somebody else that has some insight. I'll get Dennis over there. Let's just review the problems on hand. I don't wanna delay this process. I'd like to keep everything moving forward. I don't wanna hold anything up, but let's at least table it to the next meeting, do it just a little bit more homework, some internal discussions.
Would it be prudent to, get more information from Drew Shanley, like where has he had to do the repairs in there? Cause that might help us understand where more of the, underground water is the issue.
Sounds good.
That was my suggestion too, is to look at where, if the tiles keep coming up in the same spot, then you'll know where to narrow it down at. You might only have to put a French drain and a pump on one side of the building if that's where the issues are at, instead of doing it around the whole thing.
How many tiles have been popped up in the last year? I haven't heard of this either. I mean, where did all this all of a sudden become a crisis?
I can't answer.
Well,
I don't know how many tiles have been
Who
replaced.
brought it up about that? There's gotta be something in the works to where we've had Drew come umpteen times to replace tile. There's gotta be some record of that somewhere, and is this really a problem, or did it happen once every 5 years? No big deal.
So, I mean, at this time, we'll table it, you can look into all that, Roy, and go from there.
It'll be on the next meeting's agenda.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So, alright, moving on.
Just no action then?
Yeah, no action.
No action.
How long is the Crawford's, bid good for us?
I believe it's 30 days.
30 days,
Yeah.
so that goes up already,
It's already done.
by the way.
I'll give them a call.
Yeah, we'll-
Send them a call today.
We'll reach out to them.
Sure.
Alright, number 9, discuss, approve, disapprove, paying off the balance of the loan for green dumpster grant number 23-148. The Nebraska Environmental Trust indicated that in the proposed budget, the supply chain personnel time were to be matched at 3%. There were no locatable records of staff time for the city prior to 2024 to capitalize to the grant. The total cost of the dumpsters, including delivery, was $139,410, which was the loan amount. Disbursement from the grant was $138,221, leaving a shortfall of $1,189 for the original loan payoff amount. The loan has now accrued $2,517.12 in interest, as well making the total owed as $141,927.12.
Make a motion to approve.
May I ask a question real quick?
Did we get the motion and the?
I made a motion.
I didn't hear approval.
In the second? Okay, question?
You're up to discussion.
Where they're, actually, where they're asking about personal time, how are they clarifying that?
Staff hours. That have to be, you have to be able to support it, you have to prove it.
So-
You can't just say,
Sure.
well, if somebody spent 10 hours, you can't make a guess that there's 10 hours of a ground breaker.
No, I was gonna
Or-
tell you the place to find it. For a while, Jamie was in my payroll, on my timesheets and my payroll. She was taking some from general, some from sewer, which she was using for this, and some from water. So the part that was going to sewer was for that. And it was under
But
me.
this is prep for the grant, so it would be the paperwork portion of it. So what
Perfect.
ultimately what we're missing is time record of anything that happened before we have our current treasurer.
Oh,
So,
darn it.
yeah, it was within the year of
No,
2023.
I was
and we
required to
just couldn't
close
find
it.
record of.
It's closed already in the
Okay.
commencement.
We just couldn't find record of anything substantial we could use that could be enough. And we weren't off by just a little bit. We had like maybe a third of what we needed to, so it was just, it'll just be part of what we'll need to take care of.
It's still a good deal for the dumpsters that we
Oh,
got.
yeah, it's very minimal overall cost for what we have to incur.
I think it's only smart to pay it off before you acquire more interest.
Alright, any other questions? We'll do roll call to pay off the grant.
Grant?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes.
Tecumseh?
Yes.
Alright, new business.
I don't know if I can ask a question. So if I can't, you can say no.
Since we're on old business, have you heard anything from the engineering report on the pool?
That is not on our agenda, so we're not gonna discuss that.
Okay,
Thank you for your question.
I didn't know if it
No,
was beyond
you're
the
okay.
agenda or not, it looked
You're
like a
okay.
question.
Thank you.
Shane,
Yes, ma'am.
just to clarify, there's three of us here have this question of why was the interest so much money? That seems exorbitant.
Cause
for
it's the interest on the entire $139,000.
It's a percentage of the total amount,
Yeah.
as opposed to a time frame.
How long is the loan?
From March, yeah,
March.
it wasn't a terrible long time, but interest rates were just, that's where we're at right now, so that's why it
It was
flipped, so.
6.25% interest.
Yeah, but it's, hustle's quick.
Thank you.
You bet.
Alright, new business, discuss, approve, disapprove Phil Pryor to work on the golf tractor, street vehicles, and equipment at the rate of $25 per hour. Need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Alright, discussions?
So currently, we have Phil approved to work on mowers in the grader. We've got aging equipment all over the place, and we can't afford to keep sending it out. And he's got some time right now. He's assisted on the mowers. He's getting into the grader, and I think it would be a great decision to get him approved and doing some more. As soon as I get this approval, one of his next stops will be the golf course and see what he thinks of that tractor and if we can do something with it in-house versus sending it out. Which I think would be a good savings on that end.
Sure, you have just street vehicles as a general listed, do you have specifics that you can give, how many?
Well, we've got 4 pickups. They're all in dire need, and I have it all written out and listed if I need to present it. But little things like front ends, we got bad tie rods and stuff like that need to be dealt with before snow season. Quite worried about that. We've got bad radiators. We've got a lot of electrical problems on several trucks, things like that.
I have a question. A few meetings back, this was approved to hire him at $25 an hour.
It was
On
only
two
approved
specific
to work on
Motor
the
grader and
motor
mowers.
grader and, yeah, mowers,
Okay.
from what I
I was,
remember.
Yeah, I was looking at the minutes after.
So, alright, any other questions, concerns?
One other name you might, on the tractor, you might actually ask would be Steve Barsacks, because he has an extensive history of rebuilding these tractors. So that might be somebody you might wanna talk to.
Local.
Barsacks?
Where's he from?
No,
Here.
so I appreciate the idea, he's been talked to, he is not interested, is what I've been notified.
Okay, that's fine.
He is not interested.
How about park mowers, and stuff like that with, Dave Swanson, which used to do all the work for the city for years. And obviously Tom had a problem with him, and all of a sudden he's out of the picture. He's pretty cheap and a very, very competent source.
And he can pick them up.
And he picks them up and delivers them the whole works. So you're not paying travel time, you're not paying, I mean, you're missing a good source there. And I talked to you, I think I talked to you about him.
Dave Swanson.
Dave Swanson out of Hemmington.
I will say Dave does phenomenal work.
I'm open to what we have currently on up for approval. I guess I'd like just some specifics as opposed to just equipment in general from now on.
Okay.
Because this is really open. I'd
Yep.
like to list a couple, a handful, your top 6, whatever. We'll go through that. Once we get to that, if, that
Okay.
works out well, I'd like to reapprove later on.
Okay.
But if we could get specific in this, I'd feel more comfortable approving something really specific so that we know we have it was approved on this date, these were the 6 items we needed to have you fixed, it took you this long, whatever, and then once that's complete, we can use that to evaluate, releasing or using, considering this item again, if
Absolutely.
that's okay. Do you have
So
specifics you'd like
on
to
the
refer
agenda
to?
item is the golf course tractor. So
Correct.
can we get that approved? And he's already working on mowers and the grader.
Okay.
And then I'll put it back on the agenda and present some more information.
So just the street tractor and all the park mowers?
Yep.
And not
Golf
the
course
vehicles.
tractor?
The golf tractor and
Right.
park mowers, yeah.
Will you ask for more information on vehicles, which I can present?
I mean, if we wanna say that we have all 4 vehicles on this list, then I just wanna be specific that it's 4 vehicles on this list. And
Yes,
then once he's
4.
been through all 4 of them, then, so
Yeah.
I don't want any, I don't need anything
Okay.
extremely specific, but I wanna be able to say, he's been through all 4 vehicles, all 4 of those vehicles have made process and are done. I
Okay.
just don't want this to be an open-ended item, is my
No,
concern.
either
So
do I.
I'd rather see a deadline
Yep.
and more closure to it
Okay.
and be specific with it. So we can do golf tractor, park mowers, which includes 2.
The golf mowers, well, they have the one down one at golf right
No.
now.
Okay.
Does another one need looked at out there?
I don't know that answer.
Everything needs looked at out there, but,
So
For
one is
what- for
inoperable
Amanda's
though.
done.
But the major one that's down, so,
Yeah,
so
the-
one from golf, I was
Yeah.
understanding that we had additional park mowers to add to the golf mower, but that's not the case, right?
Additional park mowers?
Park mowers, yeah. Or is it all that good?
It's all golf.
He's already,
Okay,
already-
okay.
yeah, and he was already approved to work on the mowers,
That's
so.
right, okay. So just
And
the
right
golf
now, he's
mower-
only got his hands on one.
Okay, so the golf tractor and 4
Yep.
trucks, or 4 pickups for equipment. Anything in addition to that, Jan?
No.
So that at this time, I'll make a motion to, I'm sorry, can we make it more specific?
Yeah, you
Since
can
we-
amend your original.
So I'd like to amend the motion to approve that he work on the golf tractor and all 4 truck vehicles of the cities at this time at the rate of $25 per hour.
Second.
Grant,
Yes,
Dean,
Yes.
Tomassi.
Yes.
Alright.
thank you.
Number 11, discuss, approve, disapprove medical clinic concrete work and handrail repair.
That was a damn question for about it after I put the agenda together, so that's why we came on this.
I need a motion.
Is this the
I'll
back
make a
ramp,
motion.
or what is this?
I'll make a motion to discuss,
Oh, we discussed this,
approve, disapprove medical clinic concrete work and handrails
I'll second.
repair.
Alright, we got a motion with a second, so now we can
So
discuss.
the on the front entryway steps going into the clinic, the handrails broke away from the concrete, they're old. We actually had somebody almost fall over and hurt themselves on it. Spoke to the manager of the clinic, and they brought the issue to the city as well, to the previous mayor, about getting the concrete repaired and replacing the rails, because of a safety issue. So,
And you said this is just in the front
it's in the front and the back.
and the back?
The handicap ramp area in the back.
It is?
This is just the entryway from the new
Okay,
sidewalk
this one
up
is
to
just the entryway.
This is
front.
the sidewalk from the new sidewalk up
Yeah.
to the stairs.
Yeah.
All repaired and then new
Yeah.
handrails.
I know that the hospital had a maintenance guy working on the back dock, back areas. Pardon me?
That's been fixed.
That's been fixed. That was by the pantry. Okay, so that's not
So
part.
it's just the
Just
front
the front,
stairs.
yeah.
Yeah, the front entry walk and then no reconstruction on the stairway, maybe some patching and then new handrails and new
Right,
metal.
right.
So, we have
I'll make a motion to approve.
a bid,
Yes,
Of
we do.
$6,400 from Danielson Construction.
Danielson Construction,
Yes.
$6,400.
It's below the threshold for sole source. There, it is somewhat emergent because the liability is created because it's fault.
Question, Matt?
When we did that front sidewalk, the hospital cost shared with us,
Okay.
so be sure to contact them.
So does it just a handrail, no concrete work?
No, it's gonna need concrete work to re-anchor new handrails.
Just
Plus
seal the
part,
handrail in.
plus part of the sidewalk's gotta be replaced.
Okay.
Thank you, Susan.
Alright, we've already had.
Make a motion
We've
to-
already had the motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tomassi.
Yes.
Grant,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
And that's with Danielson.
Yeah, it's good.
Number 12, discuss discuss, approve, disapprove Iowa Pump Works quote for the wastewater plant in the amount of $8,570 and additional funds for shipping, which is not included in the quote and will be determined at the time of shipment in 5 to 6 weeks.
They would not commit to shipping just because of fuel prices and everything else, so.
So we have no clue what the shipping will cost us.
We have
Not
no
even a
clue what the
ballpark guess.
No.
Alright, so I need
We'll make a motion
motions.
to approve that.
I'll second.
Gotta have them.
Dean,
And this is, sorry, I'd like to discuss real quick. This is follow up on what you discussed in the,
This absolutely is.
Right,
This
this
is the
is what-
primary lift pump from the
Right.
digester up to the
Okay,
reed
I
bed
wanted
that's
to make sure
getting
that
rid of all the
this was
sludge,
okay.
so,
Perfect.
yes.
Okay.
So my concern with the whole plant is kind of what we've talked about, and the engineer said everything's obsolete, and we're finding that out, and as you're bringing this other filter system back online, now everything downstream of that is failing, is that correct?
At the water plant?
Yes.
Yes.
At the water.
And so now we're running into obsolete parts that now we gotta try to,
Well, the turbidity meters, they're electronic
sure.
and they're outdated. All the other parts in the plant are all mechanical and they're all manufacturer may not be still manufacturing that part, but the identical part's still being made by multiple
This
manufacturers.
is wastewater or water?
water.
This pump is wastewater, he just brought up water plant.
Oh,
Yeah, so two different.
So I'm
things.
commenting
we'll-
on the
yeah, no,
water plant,
no,
cause
you're
that's
fine.
what he
I just
questioned
was
on.
making sure, so.
I thought this was water.
This is wastewater, this is,
Wastewater.
yep.
Gotcha.
This is the first big one that we're getting into at wastewater. We've addressed the big ones at water.
Right, okay.
Now, this is our primary lift pump at the wastewater plant, lifting the sludge up into the,
Okay.
which was initial problem identified.
I should have clarified that with my question, so sorry, I guess I jumped it out.
Sorry for the confusion.
Alright, any other questions? Alright, so,
Dean,
Yes.
Grant,
Yes.
Toplowski.
Yes.
alright, 13, discuss, approve, disapprove advertising in Discover Northwest Nebraska for $300. Need a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. Is this their annual booklet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wanna double check.
I'm sorry, was there something?
Questions, comments?
I have a question.
Oh,
We do this every, no, wait a second.
I seconded already, yes.
Got a question.
What all kinds of things will be advertised?
This is like a area pamphlet, it's actually a pretty thick one, I thought we had one here.
We have
It's a
one full
booklet.
page ad.
I think
It's
I
one
got
of
a
those
copy.
pamphlets that go into tourist booths.
Yeah, it's the tourist information
They
package.
go quite a
I'm
long
familiar
ways.
with it being a tourist,
So it's just a simple fold-out flyer.
Yes.
no, I've seen the pamphlet, I'm just wondering what aspects of Crawford are going to be advertised in
Oh.
it?
So it's train watching, rich historical connections, scenic golfing, hiking and biking trails, horseback riding trails, boating, fishing, kayaking, hunting, and wildlife viewing.
Cool, thank you.
Is there anything you'd like added?
No,
Yeah,
it's
we
just-
can change the ad before we.
I was
so
just
that-
curious what was in it,
Uh-huh.
so like I wasn't sure if
Like
it had
awesome public library.
Best local attraction.
Alright,
Thank you.
so,
Dean, Grant, or Dean,
Yes.
Grant?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Okay.
alright, 14, discuss, approve, disapprove advertisement of open city council positions. I need a
Motion to approve?
Second.
We probably should just have a letter of intent. for the
Grant?
next-
Oh,
the
hold
second-
Oh,
the second-
oh.
Probably need a letter of intent to the mayor before the next meeting. because
From interested
From
parties.
interested parties.
So can we need to amend our motion
Letter of
to
interest.
include that?
No, you can advertise. We'll just put that when we're getting the advertising.
Okay.
Letter of interest, excuse me.
Need a letter of interest before the next council meeting.
I guess I'm slightly confused. We need that so there'll be no action currently, or?
No, it can be.
No,
you
that,
don't-
that has,
advertise.
that
We're
needs to be included
approving
in
the advertising of it, the open.
April.
Grant and Dean.
Grant?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes.
Tomasky?
Yes.
Alright, Item 15, discuss, approve, disapprove appointment of city council president. So, do we do a motion
Yeah,
to
let's
approve
do it.
as city council president, and then we'll go from there?
If that's okay with the council. I'll make a motion to nominate April.
I'll second it.
Alright,
Dean,
Yes.
Tomassian,
Yes.
Don't tell me. Sure, yes, thank you.
alright. That passes, April's new council president. Number 16, discuss, approve, disapprove submitting the past 2 years of bank records to the state auditor for review.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I will second.
Grant,
Oh, hold on, discussion?
So I talked to the state auditor's office and looking for help and for our financials, and guess what? They have the same problem the rest of the state of Nebraska has. There's a huge shortage of accountants in the state of Nebraska. And so they said this is the only help they could give us, is if we were to send them 2 years of our bank statements. They have a certain protocol that they use, look over it, and if there's any red flags, the protocol they use usually catches those. So I don't see any reason why we shouldn't.
Susan, you had a question?
If they find red flags in that 2 years, is there any possibility to extend it back further? Because I think there was issues further back.
I can't answer that, but we can look
Can
into
we
it.
leave that door open? Yeah.
We can
I
look
did,
into
I
it.
did not ask that question. I did pass on the contact information to our city clerk. And you've got his phone number and email and all that, so,
Yes,
um,
I'll reach out and see if we can put that, see how far back they will allow us to submit.
Alright, any other questions, comments? Alright, let's call roll.
Grant,
Yes.
Tomassian,
Yes.
Dean,
yes.
Number 17, discuss, approve, disapprove resignation of Barb Prosser.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second,
Grant,
Yes.
Dean,
yes.
Tomassian,
Yes.
Alright. 18, discuss, approve, disapprove hiring Tanita Grosskopf for cleaning services at City Hall and the community building for $12 an hour.
I'll make a motion to approve, adding to existing employee Tanita Grosskopf's duties to be cleaning services in addition at City Hall and community building for $12 an hour.
Second.
Grant,
Oh, did you have a question?
Yeah, so, my question is that, don't we take a deposit for our community building for them to clean it? Or they don't get it, so like, is that money from the deposit gonna be used towards her wages, or?
So we've had we've had Barb doing this for quite a few years, and she's just not interested in continuing it. And so we have the opportunity to add more to another position, so.
So the community building gets cleaned regularly, like?
Yes, it should be.
Supposed to, yes.
It should be, we'd like to see where we can take this.
How often
But
are
this
we
isn't-
thinking, like once a month, or?
No, so,
quarterly?
right now, or what's been, as of the last few years, it's expected to go in and double check that everything's been done, and if anything's missed, within reason, we just make sure it's done, and sometimes it sits maybe a month between events, so it needs to maybe be dusted or whatnot, or, swept or whatnot, depending on who's walked through, so it's just a matter of, it's more towards maintenance as opposed to really cleaning, because we do have those deposits. But we also do have people that rent it and forego their deposit very easily and would just rather us clean it, so.
Yeah, nice, okay.
Any other questions, comments? Alright, roll call.
Grant,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Tomassian,
Alright, 19, discuss, approve, disapprove job description for Parks Lead.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Do we have any questions
Can you
on,
read the description?
Yes.
We can't.
And then there needs to be one amendment to this description. As you start to read, it says operations, that should say maintenance of.
Okay, let me get to it. So Parks Lead position description, general purpose. With the assistance and oversight of the street supervisor, will oversee all aspects of the daily and seasonal operations for the park and open spaces.
Maintenance.
So it needs to say seasonal
Yeah,
maintenance.
maintenance, sorry, seasonal maintenance. I messed up. I apologize.
I just caught that today,
Yeah.
sorry everybody.
Seasonal maintenance for the park and open spaces, including the community building, baseball field, swimming pool, tourist booth, library, museum, and other city-owned properties. And be responsible for the maintenance of all equipment and tools used in this endeavor. Will be responsible for keeping all park grounds, buildings in a safe and pleasing condition for public use. Will be responsible for the oversight and training of skilled, semi-skilled, and unskilled seasonal employees in the park department. Work jointly with the street department to perform all city snow removal, respond to all city emergencies, and all other requested tasks. Supervision, works under the direct supervision of the street supervisor and consults with the park board. Essential duties and responsibilities. The Parks Lead will perform and be responsible for the following duties with the assistance of seasonal temporary help. Mowing, must follow industry standards of turf and native grass management and follow all recommended mowing practices. Irrigation, perform the proper operation, maintenance, and conduct all needed repairs on all city-owned automatic and manual irrigation systems. Coordinate and conduct all needed chemical treatments for fertilization and weed control on all responsible areas. Perform all proper tree, bush, shrub, and floral maintenance. Perform the proper daily and long-term maintenance and repair of all mowers and equipment. Perform all regular maintenance and repairs on all city-owned buildings as listed above. Responsible for the cleaning, stocking, and inventory of the public restrooms and park shop. Assist city, street, and utility departments with water and sewer repairs, snow removal, and other needed tasks. Responsible for maintenance, repairs, moving, and storage of picnic tables. Responsible for maintenance and repairs on playground equipment, fences, and park bridges. Responsible for approval of timesheets of seasonal employees. And is accountable for all expenses created by the park department and responsible for coordination of funding requests. The Parks Lead will provide recommendations as to the hiring, probation, and termination of parks seasonal employees. The application requirements are valid Nebraska driver's license, ability to obtain a valid Nebraska pesticide herbicide applicator's license. Physical requirements are employee will be required to move up to 75 pounds. Vision requirements include but are not limited to close vision, distance vision, color vision, peripheral vision, and depth perception. And selection guidelines, completion of form application to assess the rating of education and experience, formal interviews, reference, and background checks. Job-related tests may be required. Roll.
That's quite an extensive list, and it's very thorough. Last meeting, it was addressed about the camping being paid for down in the park.
Mm-hmm.
Will that be part of his duties, or whose duty is it? Was that ever discussed?
We did not.
Right now, daily, the streets department is taking that thing, goes down every morning, collects fees, and then logs license plate numbers that are there if there's no fee. That's where it's handled right now.
Okay.
Any other questions? Comments, concerns, anything? We're good budget-wise with everything on there?
We've already approved the
Yeah, no, I just double check.
Yes. We already approved the wage for it.
So, alright,
But we're approving the job
Job
description.
right,
Right.
job
Okay.
description,
Yeah.
sorry,
Maybe you
my
don't
bad.
get it. Okay. Dean,
Yes.
Tomassian,
Yes.
Grant.
Yes.
Alright, number 20, discuss, approve, disapprove promoting Kevin Hall to Parks Lead at the pay rate of $18 per hour.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Alright, discussion, anything, anybody?
I think Kevin's demonstrated that
So
Oh, yeah.
per the president,
Oh,
for the
yeah.
Parks Board, do you have concurrence? What about streets?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Dean,
Yes.
Grant,
Yes.
Tomasia.
Yes.
Alright. 21, discuss, approve, disapprove, promoting Augie Taylor to Parks laborer at the pay rate of $16 per hour.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
So this makes Augie, full-time.
This brings Augie into full-time, it's filling Kevin's vacated position,
Yes.
brings Augie into full-time. Augie has been a model employee, great guy, so I support it 1,000,000%.
Concurrence of the
I
Park Board
concur.
President
Augie's
and Public Works?
as solid as you can get.
Absolutely. If I could duplicate him, I. Boop, boop, boop.
Perfect.
Grant,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Tomasia.
Yes.
Alright, 22, discuss, approve, disapprove hiring Joe Frazee as seasonal parks laborer at the pay rate of $12 per hour.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Discussion, any concerns? No?
Grant.
Are you sure, Joe?
Thank you.
I'm sure.
Yes.
Excuse me, Dean,
Yes.
Tomasia.
Yes.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
23, discuss, approve, disapprove promoting Gina Lemon to assistant manager of the golf clubhouse. And per the discussion out at the golf board meeting was with no increase in pay, it's title only, correct?
Correct?
From what I understand, Gina's helped out immensely from what you've told me.
Very much so.
She has been in charge, or she's the one responsible for reaching out, getting the rock that was donated. different
All of our
donations.
donations she has got for us because she knows people in the community. Where I was new to town and didn't know where to reach out for this stuff, she has stepped up, done it. She's done all the artwork that's on the walls out there, she's put all of that together. She ordered the flowers for the ladies' league. She's done the gardening and planted all of the rock stuff, and while she's working a shift as well, she helps me in ordering on days that I'm not there to order. She helps, I mean, she's just amazing. And the board has approved it. Shane has seen what she's done. These guys have come out and taken a tour and seen everything that we have done together as well as she's done. So there's no pay increase. None of us got pay increases for the year. So I don't understand, it's just a title. It would definitely benefit her in the future on resumes and stuff for future work that she had that going for her. I mean, right now, I accept her as my assistant manager because she always, I call her, she's on things. She fixes things for me, so.
Did I mess up? Did I forget to get a motion? I'm sorry. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion with the specifics that you guys, that the park board had in mind, that this is a,
Golf.
sorry, I don't know what you said, but that's what I meant. Thank you for translating. So I'll make a motion, to approve promoting Gina Lemon to assistant manager, title only, for the golf clubhouse.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Sorry. I
My
messed up.
my holdup here is our discussions over the last few weeks or whatever about reorganization of the city, and I don't have a problem making you assistant manager, but as we go forward with this reorganization, I mean, we're create a position just to take it away,
It may not be, once we get through budget conferences and we look at this next year's budget and we look at manning structures, that position may not be there next year. And I hope that they can understand.
Without a pay increase, I don't understand where
We may have-
that fits into a budget with no pay increase.
Well, as it-
That's next That's- off. that's-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
Doesn't
right,
matter
right.
Doesn't
Right
matter.
now, let's
Yeah.
stay on.
So I think I think what they're just trying to say is just, as it's going, we didn't have a lot of employees this year either. We just need to have that into consideration, so we don't end up with a lot of employees and. doesn't
I
make
just
sense
wanna
to have
reiterate that in the very beginning, when she applied for the job was in the paper as applying as for the assistant manager. So it was
on your website.
It was on the website, so that's why for the last.
It was never approved, so.
I don't remember.
I'm sorry for that,
approving but yeah.
It's not approved.
So anyways, we've got the motion out there
Right.
And it's seconded.
and it's seconded.
Grant,
Any other discussion? Alright,
Grant. Dean,
Yes.
Yes.
Tomasino.
Yes.
alright, carries. Thank you. And the golf course does look really nice in the clubhouse and everything, the artwork and everything's very good. Used a lot of the old equipment to do it, which is pretty neat. It's better than throwing it out, some of that stuff's ancient.
Yeah, we had a lot of really expensive antique clubs that we were able to repurpose and reutilize and do things with. And we've actually had people come in that were here for alumni weekend and walk in and say, well, that was great grandpa's clubs hanging on the wall. We remember when we donated them here, and we haven't seen them since. And-
Which if none of you have been out there, she made a Nebraska Inn out of clubs on Ripple Metal, and it looks awesome, really, really awesome. On top of about 30 other things around the clubhouse, so.
And Dave Keener donated over $1,000 worth of rock for the front of the clubhouse.
Yeah, it looks nice.
I mean, a lot of what we've done has either been repurposed, refurbished, or donated. We got donations this year for, doing door prize baskets for all of the tournaments, for the high school kids, tournament that they had here. Each one of those 60 kids got a gift basket and their coaches of stuff that we got donated.
Well, thank you.
I mean, we're trying to go above and beyond and make our course recognized and do things that other courses don't.
We appreciate it, so thank you. Alright, 24, discuss, approve, disapprove, retroactively paying Amanda Lager for healthcare stipend from June 4th, 2024, which was the end of her 90-day probationary period.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Dean,
Yes.
Grant,
Yes.
Tomasino.
Yes.
25, discuss, approve, disapprove the Chamber of Commerce's request to rent Legend Beach Golf Clubhouse on February 14th or 15th, 2025 for the recognition and awards banquet. Motion?
Was that table when we all
It was, I was gonna table after we had a motion. Can we just go ahead and
Take
table?
no action.
Or no action? Okay. We'll take no action at this time. 26, discuss financials. So we have a group to do this.
I'm Linda Jensen. I am have been coming to your town. I am from Central City. I have been with the city of Central City as a clerk treasurer for 42 years. So I came to your town to help you with your financials and anything else I need help on. I think we finally have one. We have a great financial. I want to say that Jeannie has done extensive work on your G-Works software to get to this point. When I first came, February, I believe, we were nowhere near this point, but we are now. Do you have a financial in front of you? Okay, I'm gonna explain a few pages of
Would you
it.
like me to bring it up?
Yes, please.
You got it. Just take this.
page 1, the very first thing I want to tell you is we have combined 3 different reports out of G-Works software to produce this one, as well as using your bank statement from your bank. So what you're looking at on page 1 is the cash balances for each of those funds as of March 31st, 2024. We will still be working with April, May, June to get a current one every month. We haven't come to that point, but we're getting close.
Linda, may I ask, was any money, quarterly money, revenue, state money, anything transferred at this time?
Transferred from?
Was any money moved around? Like, in the past, you would have seen Jane would move money at the end of each quarter.
I believe there are transfers periodically.
Okay.
All I can tell you is G-Works gives us a budget report, they give us a cash report, and then they give us the third one, which is, outstanding transactions.
Right.
We put all of those together to make this one so you can all understand what we're looking at.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
What you're looking at is February 29th's balance for those funds, the revenue that was brought in the month of March, the expenses that were taken out for the month of March, and the last column shows you an ending cash balance, March 31st, 2024, for each of those funds. The next page. How do we know that this balance is with our bank? We do know there are outstanding payable checks that haven't gone through the bank yet, but we've gone through our G-Works system. We do know we have some payroll checks. A lot of these are at the end of the month. They haven't been cleared at the bank yet. That always happens. Deposits, same thing. You could have utilities that come in, but the bank doesn't have that deposit on the books yet, but G-Works does. After all those transactions, the very last bottom of that page shows you the true cash that G-Works has and the bank statement that First Security First Bank has, and we balance.
That's for March, correct?
March, as of March 24. Yes, March 31st, 2024. Thanks to Jeannie, she was able to get this to balance. I've been working with her. I want to say that this financial report is modeled after what I do in Central City every month and have been for 40 years. The next page. This is all of your true cash investments, everything you own, the city of Crawford owns, as a list. So when you were talking about your ARPA funds and your projects that you have obligated that ARPA fund, I think Mr. Dean mentioned we have $152,000. He's correct. That's exactly what ARPA funds shows at the bank. At the bottom of that, it does say, Mr. President Joe Biden gave all the cities so much money, they have to be obligated. You as a city have to obligate those funds. The deadline is December 31st, 2024. Not spend it, but make sure you have it on paper, the obligation, what you're going to spend those monies for. That's a rule. And then it has to be actually spent by December 2026. Next page. This is a composite of income only. So the first column is your current month's income, March, for each of the funds. The year to date, which is October 1st to March 31st, because that is a fiscal year for municipalities is October 1 through September 30th. The next column is what's been budgeted. The last column is what is remained. So, looking at general fund, for instance, you have brought in $56,234.54 in the month of March. So far, from October 1st to now, you've brought in $540,174.84. You expect, you're budgeted $853,513 for the year. So you think your remaining budget income is $313,338.16. That's looking at general fund across the board there. Keep in mind, you have property taxes that are big in May and September. This is as of March 31st. You have a golf course. March 31st has not been in operation yet for the season. That's why there's no income for your golf. We don't have anything yet. So those are just some things that I can point out here.
And I would suggest the only thing that would concern me on that report is your percentage of expenditures that early in the year.
Yes.
That's the only thing you need to be really mindful of.
Yeah, thank you, yes. Because you gotta remember this is as of March. So April, May, June, July, August, and September is half a year.
But
And what you mean?
percentage of expenditures
So-
on this page or
On your income page, it shows
Your income page.
year-to-date percentage of expenditures.
But that's as of March.
That's,
This is of March. So you just
You're-
need to be
this is-
mindful.
yeah, this is halfway
Well,
through.
we have.
He is correct. This is halfway through the budget
And then this is
year.
what's remaining,
That's just.
and that puts us at 63.29%
So we profit
of our budget, our budgeted amount.
to bring in, not
But
expend.
at March 31st,
As of
what,
March
what Adam, the point Adam's getting at, I believe, is that should have been around 50%.
I guess what's confusing, Linda, is you're talking about income.
She's
Our,
saying
So
our,
making sure
our
above-
spending trend rate is about
Like, this is
13%
revenue.
above where it needs to be.
Right, that's why he's saying that it
But
should
this is
be
revenue,
above
A
revenue
percentage
at
or says
63%.
percent used.
Right.
But
This is percent income.
Okay.
This
This
page
percent,
is-
yeah, it does say used, but this is
This
the.
is used of the income.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
what
so we,
you can see, and I
so,
like that.
so in March, we've taken in 63% of what we expected to make.
Sorry.
Oh, I understand.
Right.
That makes more sense.
But that's always the line you wanna look at
Yes,
in
right.
anything.
So it's not used, it's what's been earned since.
That's why I drew some attention to the first general fund, because I knew your income really hasn't hit.
The next page is gonna clarify the question you have.
Okay.
Your property taxes haven't come in like they will for May and September.
Which is money
So
coming
you
into
will,
us.
yeah,
Yeah, your
and your golf is all season.
Your payday's that many.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your pool probably too. Your pool's probably, well, yeah, there's nothing in the pool, it hasn't been open yet.
Yeah.
It's
Right,
March.
we hadn't pulled anything out of funding for its preparation for it.
But, he has a good point,
I would just change it to percent received.
receipt, yes, you wanna make it, she's got it, thank you. The next one makes more sense as used. The next page is your expenditures. The first column is 1 month, March, that's what you spent. The next column is year-to-date as of from October 1 until March 31st of 2024, that's what you year-to-date expended. Your budgeted is your next column. This is what, the last column is what you have left of your budget to spend, and the percents used. There we go.
I have a question on this one.
Yes.
So we're halfway through the fiscal year at this
Yes.
point, right?
Right.
And the police says only 0.02%
That one just hasn't
used.
been paid yet that month.
Paid that.
We haven't paid
So
it.
it was, that payment hadn't come through yet, so it just, it looks
But
deceiving.
shouldn't that be showing, you know,
Right.
6
right.
months worth of payment.
50%?
Yeah.
It should
Yeah,
be
there
close
should
to
be.
half of the payments, right?
It should be 50%.
Yeah,
So
we
it should
pulled
be
this off of
50%
the
like,
G-Works.
right, so.
But that would be a line that you would, that 0.02% line.
But your fire and your sheriff should both be at 50.02, is what they're saying.
Yep, so garbage is a contract where we know halfway through spending it, cause it's a contract we spend on every month, same with fire, and then, but police is the same kind of contract, so I would expect a similar
We pay the same.
50% on that one, so it might just be.
It's a fixed cost that'll be
Yep,
Yeah.
so that might be something to look at, it's just
And
that, how that looks.
I wanna say, I don't know
on
if
expenditures.
G-Works has a percent or bring that budget down and divide it by the month in equal increments.
Gotcha, okay.
You know,
Right, it's,
equally
Cause it,
every month.
cause it's showing
under
$41
current
and
expenses, it
82
does have,
cents.
under what we do pay monthly, and it does have the full contract amount in the budget.
Right.
It just, it's the year-to-date expenses is off. So.
I agree with that. Take a look at that. This is a learning process for everyone.
Oh, I think it is.
That's awesome, so.
Yeah. I tell you what, when I came to Crawford, I wanted you all to have a report that is understandable, accurate, legible, and you can think through it without having to go through 3 documents from G-Works to find your answer. That's what I was trying to do.
You're pretty close to it.
Oh, yeah, that just looks awesome.
Yeah.
G-Works can't do it, why?
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. And then the next page is a profit and loss statement. Keep in mind, this is 1 month. I'm sorry, up to March 31st. 6 months then, in other words. Right now, you have a profit of March
If I could make it,
of $276,845.86.
just wanna clarify something. This data is simplified, but in no way in this overall number does it segregate or report funding or budgeting for capital outlays, capital improvement, or depreciations.
That's a line item.
Okay, so there's a big number here, but inside that big number, there's segregation of funding
These are on purpose numbers. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, the line items are more identified on a budget report.
Okay,
This is grand totals of each fund.
okay,
The line items are, there was a budget report here coming up,
yeah,
but that's by line item.
yeah,
This is for grand totals only.
okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
And again, this one looks slim on the profit and loss because you haven't got your paydays.
And it's March, this is March. Right.
Your May 1 taxes, just.
Yeah, and that's why, golf and pool lack some revenue there.
Right.
The very last page, I threw this in because in Central City, we had constituents that wanted to know, okay, we budgeted $188,000 and $472 from the county to give us so much money. Where are we at? This is one line item as, I'm sorry, I forgot your name, but anyway, this is one line item in the general fund that explains where you are on property taxes only. One line item within the general fund. I only did this because I myself, as a treasurer, wanted to know where was I any moment, any month on this county money that I'm going to expect. How much of a shortfall am I going to take by the end of September? That's why I put that in there. That's just one line item out of general. I hope time here has been worth it. I've brought to you everything I know, from clerk's duties to treasurer duties, from 42 years. I brought manuals to help out. They copied anything they wanted out of my manuals, and they are expensive. I have 4 volumes, 5 including the forms manual. I have 5 volumes. I don't know if I'm going to be invited back, but I have spent my time with you. You know, the staff, phenomenal. You've all been wonderful to work with.
We appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I've brought my expertise.
Thank you so much.
I think everybody thanks you.
I wish it wasn't so far from here.
We wish that too.
There's a lot of distance between you and me.
You are always welcome back.
Oh, I really appreciate it. I love the area. It's beautiful up here. I don't have that.
It's not usually the smoky either.
Oh. I don't see anything. I see grass, corn, or wheat, or hay. I don't see anything else. There's variations in
I guess it's time to move up here.
We're glad to hear you brought your husband. So
All
he
right.
could enjoy it too.
He did the last time. So, yeah, he's a motorcyclist, and so.
There you go.
No.
Because we're not, thank you.
Thank you. It was great working for your town.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. I'm gonna pass over 26 at the moment. We'll do, or not, sorry, 26. I'm gonna pass over 27 at the moment. We'll come back to that. Let's do 28, discuss, approve, disapprove request for Keno funds for the Senior Pro Rodeo that will be held on August 16th, 17th, and 18th. Do I have a motion?
How much?
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
it doesn't say
yeah.
how much, so
It
it's
does
hard
not.
to make that.
So I guess,
That's a
yeah.
basic question.
We can be pushing for that.
Yeah, we kinda need to know that before we can make that.
$2.
$2.
Well, anyway, we've had this rodeo for a long time, and I'm not quite the speaker that Diane normally. She usually comes here and I skip town. This time she's gathered in and clear across the country, out of the country. But anyway, our Senior Pro Rodeo, it brings in anywhere from 70 to 100 contestants, and their families follow them, a lot of them do. And
Hey guys, thank you.
but and this year we want to we're going to try to include some mutton busting. And 2 years ago we had can't think of his name, from Shadner bought his mini bulls over, and they bucked the mini bulls and stuff, and that brings a lot of people to town. But anyway, like I say, Diane's a much better speaker than I am. But the city of Crawford has helped us out immensely. I'm a sappy son. But anyway, without Crawford's help, we couldn't do it. We don't want to lose this rodeo. I had contestants call me because we weren't going to have it. It's the best rodeo we go to. So anyway, whatever you can do, we appreciate it.
So, in the years past, how much have you?
The last 2 years have been 3,000. And without it, we couldn't put it on. It's, you know, Crawford's a small town, and trying to go around right after the 4th of July with your hand out, you know, for donations and stuff. It's pretty hard to do.
So would you like to apply for that same amount this year, or would you need a different amount?
Same amount would, you know, more would help, but no, but the 3,000, it goes along. Last year, the stock and stuff cost us about 6,000. So that paid for half the stock. The contestants, they pay, I think it's $25 a stock charge, which helps us, but every time the gate pops open, it costs us $10. And the gate pops open quite a little. and the rough stock, is even more. And so this year, there has been a change on the dates and stuff. Donna, she had lost the minutes to our last meeting, but we was gonna have 5 rodeos, which we thought, you know, because our Crawford Road, there was only one, Penguin, Utah after Crawford. So everybody chasing them points to make it to the finals and a world championship. We sure with 5 rodeos, they're gonna come and participate. But there's 11 rodeos in that 2-week period.
So let me ask you a question. You say $3,000, current inflationary rate in the last 2 years.
Okay,
Would we be closer to offering or saying 3,500?
I wouldn't turn that down at all. Diane would be so proud.
Dale, what was your shortfall last year? How much were you short?
Right now, we have 4,000. I can't read my computer. But, your balance, right? Yeah, the balance. $4,374.75. And then last year, I think I'm not sure what we started out with, but our stock cost us more. This year, we're not gonna have the bucking horses. We do have the bulls. I told the guy, you know, he called me, how come you're not having a rough stock? I said, we can't afford you. So anyway, he dropped his price enough to if I include an Airbnb and some of this stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But, so they dropped the price a little bit, but, I think, we give, $800 for the arena, and I think, $250 of that is refundable for, you know, for maintenance fees or whatever. And, which I think is quite a little when we bring that much business to town and then charge us $500 to use it. But, you know, they've gotta have the money too.
Bobby, Alex on stocks, 20% of, at least.
Yeah.
On everything.
Yeah.
You said your shortfall is 4,300?
Or that's what he's collected, I thought.
Yeah, that's what we,
Gonna ask for that amount.
well, that wasn't our shortfall. I mean,
That was your overage from last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'd like to amend my statement and make a motion recommend that we help you out with $4,300.
I'll second.
Only if you come back and ask for it next year.
He's locked himself.
Diane's retired now.
There's another thing that we do. We make the banners, shoot banners and everything, that we hang on the shoot gates. You know, the people that donate more, whatever, we'll put that, we go to Shattern and they make us a banner. And if you guys, whoever, we'll make and bid for
What's
the
your banner cost?
I think it's right at $170 to $100.
Don't pay for it on our part. Everyone knows we donated, it's fine.
Okay, but like with Crawford Central Commons or City Council or whatever, we can put it covered in the board, it's on the crow's nest and don't donate.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanna do something that's not gonna cost you anything or very little, that's fine, but don't go spend extra money you don't have just to put a banner up.
Yeah, well, thank
Sell
you.
that banner to somebody else.
I was gonna say, if anyone else wants to donate, there's the guy that's right there.
There you go.
So you make a
Well,
motion.
thank you
Got
very
any
much.
motion?
And you seconded it, so you're ready for roll call.
Yeah, roll call, please.
Tomasian?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes.
Oh, that's the amended motion.
Yep.
So, are we done with that part?
Yes.
Alright, I think I have a couple things left to sign, other than that, we'll take a brief break, I didn't get everything.
Oh, you didn't have anything, so.
I tried.
5.
We'll take a 5-minute break. Alright, we're gonna reconvene everybody. Alright, so, I need, to 27, approve bills and claims requisition orders, transfers,
I'll make a motion to
and
approve
I would make a motion, since we have the Levi's in there, that'd be April's abstention. So I'd make a motion to approve all the claims with the exception of that one.
Yeah.
And then vote, she can vote on the rest of the claims, and then we'll come back to that one.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve bills, claims, requisitions, orders, and transfers with the exception of the warrant for bills on recycling. Levi's on recycling, excuse me.
I'll second that.
Roll call?
Sebastian?
Yes.
Grant? Yes.
Dean?
Yes.
Alright, now we need one for Levi's Auto. And this one just needs a little clarification.
Make a motion to approve the warrant for,
No, go ahead.
the warrant for Levi's Auto Recycling for the amount of $3,035, but with the stipulation that we get clarification on individual itemized parting invoicing for the, rather than just the general vehicle, and the parts pricing.
Can I answer that, or is that not okay?
You need a second first, right?
Yes.
All right, I'll second.
Yes, can she answer?
She can.
That's just the way
She's
the
abstaining
system,
from it.
that's just the way the system dictates it. That's just the generic listing of the system. So if
Okay.
you need more specifics or you want more specifics, it can be drawn up and it can be written out, but our system will never give you more than just generics on that.
Okay, yeah, cause that was our only question.
Yeah,
Right,
this is,
right.
These
So-
all show the
right.
same thing here.
Right, so they're all considered just default additions to the transmission for it to be a complete transmission. So it's, there are ways to order, some yards will specify that specific part and sell that separately. We never sell anything separately, everything we sell is a whole item. And that was provided in the proof and the additional pages that were in the original bill. But it's by default, that's why it's listed that way. We sell it as one complete item that includes all the pieces with it.
so you don't invoice by part number, you invoice by product description or type.
I can't invoice by part number because I have hundreds of them in my yard that are the same thing.
Okay.
So I have to explain our process, each car that comes into my facility is given an inventory number. And it's all done by inventory number. And when you enter that inventory number, it takes into account year, make, model, and item. And therefore, it's a lot more than just part number. Because if you were to put a part number into we're a part of the car part or car-part.com system, if you put a car part into that system, I might come up one time, I might come up 3,000 times, I might come up 0 times, depending on how many of those items I have. So the part number is more of a customer number. Part number would not be something that I can inventory items by.
Okay, I'm good with that, I understood it, because when I looked at it initially, I understood how the system was breaking it down.
Sure.
But
we don't sell, for example, like that's a transmission, but we don't sell engines. We sell engines the exact same way. We don't, if you buy an engine from us, it's the engine, the wiring harness, it's an absolute complete package, and that is not as common in yards to do. Most of the time, they'll make you pay for specific smaller items,
Right.
but we refuse to do that. We want to make sure it's a complete functional, it's a plug-and-play system.
you're selling and invoicing a total unit versus me going into a yard and doing a pick apart.
Right, you'd have to. If it wasn't that way, you'd have to. So if you bought that from another yard that just sold a transmission, you'd have to ask for those additional 4 pieces to complete the package of what you need for that plug-and-play system.
Okay. But I'm good with that.
Does that answer?
That's okay. Sebastian?
Yes?
Dean?
Yes.
Abstain.
That's it? Grant abstain.
I just ran abstain.
And abstains.
Alright, I need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make a motion.
I need a second.
Second?
Grant?
Yes.
Sebastian?
Yes.
Dean?